here he is, the man that started it all for this family and all things going so well, Mr. Alfredo Vallejo. How you doing, Dad?
Doing fine.
So let's just get started.
Okay.
What do we got going on here?
We're starting off the meal actually with the salad that you're making, which is a leaf spinach with pecans and orange sections. Omar is doing a stuffed flank steak with some cheese and vegetables that he's going to do out on the grill with heat. And Alex is going to complement that with some micheladas, which is a beer drink with tomato juice. Jalissa is making a rice dish that actually your mom has made in our house for many years.
Love it.
And Mama's making her famous whole wheat bread.
It looks good right there.
Isn't that beautiful? And I'm actually putting this together, the shrimp and the scallop saute, that will be the main course for the day.
It's real colorful. It looks real nice.
I hope everyone's hungry. We've got a lot of food.
Well, let's get started. Hey y'all, welcome to Taste and Music. We're back here caramelizing some pecans with some sugar here. And you just kind of got to put it on a low heat. You want to make sure to do it real slow. You don't want to crank it up real high because if you burn the sugar, it's just really not that yummy. The whole idea is to just get the sugar to cling to the pecans. So you just got to keep moving it around. You know, just make sure you pay attention to it. Don't leave, don't answer the phone, talk to your friends or whatever. Just definitely pay attention. But while I'm doing this right here, I'd like to introduce you to my sister, Julissa. Hey Julie, how you doing? What do we got here? What are you making?
Good. I'm going to be making Mom's rice recipe, and what we have here is we have 2 cups of rice. I've got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the pan. I've got red bell pepper, onions, and here we have the carrots, and we have salt, and I'm going to be adding 4 cups of chicken broth to the rice. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to saute. I should be getting warm here. Onions and red bell pepper. And I'm also going to put the rice into the skillet. Let me turn this up a little bit. And what you want to do is you want to coat the rice with the olive oil so that the rice doesn't stick together.
What does that do? Does that keep it from maybe not sticking? When you boil it, it doesn't make the rice sticky.
Yeah, we don't want sticky rice. And the kind of rice I've got here is I'm using jasmine. It's a long grain rice. It smells really great. It's got a wonderful flavor.
Awesome.
Kind of let that go.
This is Mom's recipe.
This is Mom's recipe. And then I'm going to add the 4 cups of chicken broth. And what you want to do, you want to make sure it's double the liquid of the rice. So I use 2 cups of rice and I'm using 4 cups of chicken broth.
So 2 parts to 1.
Yes. Then I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in it. You want to make sure you don't salt it too much because the chicken broth already has salt in it. So it's kind of salty.
Definitely, so like just season it to taste.
Season it to taste. And then what you want to do is you want to wait till you want to bring it to a boil. Okay, the rice has started to boil. So what I'm going to do before I put the lid on and turn it down to low for it to simmer is I'm going to sprinkle carrots on top. This is just added really for the color.
Nice color. Carrots are great too. What is that, like julienne? What do you
Yeah, you can actually buy these already cut up like this at the store, so you don't have to do it yourself. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it down. Okay, so I just turned it to low. I'm going to put the lid on and let it simmer, and you should have a delicious rice in about 20 minutes.
Alright, I'm just throwing together a real quick salad here. This is very easy, just something just really nice that tastes really good and it's very easy. Basically it's just some baby spinach right here. We put in a bowl. Definitely make sure you wash it and drain it. And then we're going to just take some of these candied caramelized pecans that I did before on the stove. And then this is just basically a balsamic vinaigrette. It's basically just balsamic vinegar, olive oil, and sugar. And you just kind of whip it up together like that. Very, very simple. Sprinkle that on there. Take some mandarin oranges. Look at that. Yummy. That should be good. And just kind of toss it real lightly. Just something just real easy. Kind of get it all. But that's about it. Voila. baby spinach, balsamic vinaigrette with mandarin oranges. Yum.
Hello, I'm with my wife, Alitza. This is the wife of... This is my wife, Alitza, the mother of Vallejo. Together we're going to be making some loaves of whole wheat bread, and we're going to do those loaves of bread right now. You'll follow us. We start off the recipe by putting all of the dry ingredients together. And in this case, we're doing 2 cups of whole wheat flour and 3.5 cups of regular all-purpose flour. We're putting those into the mixer, and to that we're adding 1 teaspoon of salt, and we're adding 2 tablespoons of sugar. And we'll continue to add the flour to the bowl, and at the same time what we'll do is we will add all of our wet ingredients together and then add them to the dry ingredients at one time. I have 2 packages of yeast, 1.5 cup of milk, and I'm adding 2 tablespoons of butter and 1 egg that we have taken up and we have beaten up and we put it together. We'll stir the wet ingredients together, and if you would like to do, you could take the yeast and the milk, let it sit for maybe a minute or 2, just let it start to ferment and grow, and then add it to the dry ingredients, but it's not totally necessary. So we will add those to that there and start the mixer, and then we'll add the ingredients slowly. Once you have allowed this to mix for about 10 minutes, then you can go ahead and take it down, cut off the machine, and put the dough into a bowl that has been greased with olive oil. You can use regular oil or you can use butter, and just let it sit in that bowl. You use about a tablespoon of oil in that bowl. You cover the dough up and allow it to sit for about an hour for it to actually proof. At this point, what we need to do is we need to take the dough, take it out of the bowl, and we'll punch it down. The idea here is to get the air out of the dough and get it worked up to where it'll be pliable again. We'll shape it up, divide it into 6 separate balls, and the first thing that we do is we separate it into 3 parts, and each one of these will become actually a long piece of dough that will be shaped into a loaf. We have been making this bread at home for many years.
For a special occasion, and this is great with only with a glass of wine and butter. Delicious.
Makes a whole meal, just the
Yes.
bread, not necessary to
And then
have anything to go with it.
you make like that. You make this.
On this, you want to make sure that you have the ends tucked under so that it will not become unbraided when you actually start to bake it. And here you have the two loaves, and we'll let these proof for about an hour, and then we'll bake them at 375 for about 40 minutes. Okay, the bread is baked now for about 40 minutes, nice and brown. We're taking it out of the oven. Place it on top here, let it cool off a little bit. At this point, you may want to brush it with some butter and just let it sit for a few minutes before you slice it, but it's ready to go.
All right, we're here with my brother Omar, my brother-in-law Heath, and what you guys got going on here?
Well, what we have here is we have a stuffed flank steak. As you can see, it's already been butterflied and already laid out. What you do with this is you get the steak and you, straight out of the store, you get it and you'll butterfly it, which you'll cut it in half and fly it open like this, because this is the whole steak right here. We've got some foil here that we've prepared. We've put 2 pieces of foil on the table and actually folded them in and tucked them in real nice. It's really cool. And all the ingredients we have here, we've chopped up and have everything prepared.
Right, we've got cilantro and red bell pepper, mushrooms, onions, green onions, and a little bit of garlic right here. Tomatoes, pickled jalapenos, is that right, Omar?
From March Seven Orders, it's very
Yeah,
good. And of
right.
course, you can't go wrong. Cheese, you can never go wrong with cheese because that's what makes everything really good.
Makes the world go around.
Yeah, it does. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start putting on the vegetables in here, and by putting the vegetables in the meat and rolling up, it will actually serve as like a steamer. So they will go ahead and cook while the meat cooks on together. We'll start with some of this stuff right here, which is called mushrooms. The more the merrier.
What's that marinated in here?
Actually, it's just very simple. It's Italian dressing, straight out of the bottle, HEB style. You know, that's where we love to shop. And just pour it right over the steak. Really doesn't need any more seasonings unless you have something you want to maybe put in there. But we just do it real simple because we don't like to spend too much time on that. Right? More time to eat. More time to eat.
And drinking.
And also, well, speaking of drinking, this little plate right here is a great appetizer. You know, and while you're outside putting it on the grill, it's a good time to actually make a Michelada, which my brother Alex will show you how that stuff is done. It's pretty much a lime-based tomato drink, but it's called a Michelada. It's a red beer, and it's really tasty, especially for outdoor.
Perfect
kind of
for
cooking.
football season or
Yeah.
hangovers.
Yeah, either or is good. You know, it works both ways. And we'll put some of this on here.
Is the cheese going last?
Yeah, the cheese on last. Actually, as far as this is concerned, it's, you know, it doesn't really matter what, because it all get cooked in together. But you can't really. There's not a correct way of doing this. So let's go ahead and get this, and we're gonna wrap this. We're gonna wrap it up, and you want to sort of go with. And always remember, here's a little lesson my father showed me back in the day. Keep the shiny side in, because that's what reflects heat. But anyway, and the same with the grain of the meat. You got to keep it in here. What you'll do is you'll start out rolling this thing, and see if we can do this without messing it up too badly. And as you roll, you can see you roll it to where the meat will come in, and keep swirling and stuffing the vegetables in here to where you can actually see it. And you'll get it nice and tight. And when you're rolling things, you don't want to roll anything really loose, you know what I mean? Nice tight roll. And then you just pretty much go on over and roll it up, twist it on the ends, and it's ready for the oven. Actually, before it goes on the oven, you might want to put a couple holes so it can breathe. The meat needs to breathe. See? And actually let off some of that drainage. And as far as we're concerned here, this is ready for the oven. Or the grill. Well, we're outside. We're gonna go ahead and put on what we've prepared inside on the grill. Right now we have something already cooking. Imagine that. We're gonna put what we have here. I'm gonna put this one. It's all ready to go. It's been on there for about 45 minutes on medium flame. I'm gonna go ahead and get this, open it up, and see what we have inside. It's a little hot, so watch those pinkies and thumbs over there. Let's see what we got. Voila! And it comes out good. All right. There we go. Actually, this came out perfect. And you just go and you cut little sections of meat, and boy, is this hot. So you can see all the vegetables inside that are stewed so nicely.
This is Omar's recipe, by the way. I have to give him some credit for this.
Yeah,
This
I
is
dreamt
his.
it up one night, and I woke up really hungry. Actually, I think I went to bed hungry and sort of dreamt up this recipe and came up with this. It's like pretty much all the things that go in a salsa or some kind of type of Mexican dish, and you just put it in and a roll of meat, roll it up, and voila, it's done. All right.
I'm helping all of it together because you want to make sure that all the
meat's so
vegetables
soft and tender.
So tender, you want to keep the vegetables, inside. But whenever you put it down, you'll see here in a little bit. There's a nice pattern of the vegetables inside the beef.
Oh, hot.
Doing the best I can.
We'll go ahead and top it off with a couple of jalapenos. Kick it up a notch with some parsley. Throw some red peppers on there, and pretty much done.
There you go.
Hey, we're here with my twin brother Alfredo Vallejo, the drummer of the band Vallejo, of course. And nothing more refreshing when you're chilling at the grill than making a nice cold michelada. Pretty much the Michelada is just, you know, a drink that we like to drink, you know, within the family while we're cooking and stuff like that. It's a nice, refreshing drink that pretty much the ingredients are, you know, lime juice, you know, the salted rim, which we've already kind of pre-prepared. Basically, you just, you know, take the lime and put it around there, and then, you know, turn the glass upside down and salt it. So that's the first step, and then, here, I'm going to use your glass here. The second step would be just put a little ice in there, because that's what makes it nice and cool. And then here's some Worcestershire sauce here that we're going to add just for this. I think this
Worcester.
brings a lot of the taste. The secret, one of the secrets.
It's good stuff.
All over the place here. And then I would say the next step would be a little clam juice or tomato juice. You could use whatever you want.
Combination there. Lime juice.
Lime juice, secret sauce, makes it nice and kind of gives it that little lemonade taste.
Just like a half a lime right there.
Yeah, it's about a half a lime. And then I'd say for a little kick, we use a little bit of hot sauce.
Gotta have a little bit
We
of that.
prefer Tabasco, but you know, you guys can use whatever you want. And then the last ingredient, which is the most important, just any kind of Mexican beer will do, you know. And I'd say
Just kind of fill it
fill it to
close
the top. It'll
rest.
start
Yeah.
brewing up here. Take your little knife that you probably cut your limes with and give it a little stir. And for the end, you know, Latinos, we love color, so
Take a little lime.
take a little
slice
garnish.
it.
And there you go.
Voila.
You got your Michelada, nice and refreshing.
Today we're going to fix a shrimp and scallop saute, and I'm going to go over the ingredients to give you an idea of what we're going to be using. I'm using about 2.5 pounds of shrimp. This is some fresh Gulf shrimp, and 1 pound of the large scallops. We're going to saute that in olive oil, and we're going to be adding the following ingredients. I have browned off some real nice bacon pieces. This is half a pound of bacon that we've removed all the fat from it. I have 1 whole onion sliced. I have a julienne red pepper. I have a julienne green pepper. I have a 1.5 cups of sliced mushrooms, 1.5 cups of chopped tomatoes fresh, and then I have some parsley that's going to go over the dish after it has been prepared.
Of course, we have some salt and pepper and crushed garlic.
Let me tell you a little bit about this particular ingredient here.
Okay.
This is some fresh garlic, but I want to call your attention to the little mortar that I'm using to grind it in. This belonged to my mother, and she gave it to Jalissa, our daughter. She's passed it on to her. My mother has passed on, and she used this for many years in her house, and it's very, very special to us. And we're using it today for grinding the garlic that's going to go into the recipe.
Yes, definitely. I remember seeing her when growing up, just seeing her make salsas and all kinds of stuff with it. So it's definitely a special piece.
She would be proud to see this here.
Oh yeah.
We're going to start off with the onions and the garlic in the skillet, and we want to heat these, cook them until they get tender, but we don't want to do too much cooking because this is going to be cooking more when we add the seafood in here. We want to do as much heat as we possibly can on this because when you saute, you want to have high heat, otherwise you will actually be steaming or boiling more so, especially when the seafood and the other ingredients start to release some of their juices. I'm adding the sliced mushrooms. Again, I'm just sauteing these lightly because these will have a chance to cook along with the other ingredients as we're adding the shrimp. And I started off with about 3 tablespoons of oil. You can also use some of the bacon. When you do the bacon, you can save 3 or 4 of the tablespoons of the bacon and use it for sauteing your onions and garlic. I chose to add and use the olive oil simply because it's a little bit healthier for you. So you can see that I've got this started down and sauteing to about a medium cooked stage, and I'm going to go ahead and add my shrimp and the scallops at this time. Our seafood is ready, so what we're going to do is we're going to add our seasonings. I'm adding some black pepper to taste. I would say probably about half of a teaspoon or so. Salt to taste would be about 1 teaspoon, or depending on how much you like. The other thing that I'm going to add is going to be the 1.5 fresh tomato that I have peeled, and I have diced it up, and I'm adding it to my seafood. I'm stirring it up to where we actually combine all of the seasoning that I have added. One of the last things that I'll be adding is going to be the juice of 2 lemons. And then I'm going to top this off with the final ingredients, which is actually some strips of red pepper. And this is 1 pepper that I have julienned. And I'm doing the same thing with the green julienne pieces of pepper. And let those work in a little bit. And about the only thing that I want to do with the pepper is to kind of heat it through and through. I don't really want to cook it. I want the color and I want that crunch to be there when we are actually tasting this. And I'm topping this whole thing off with the bacon. And the bacon is actually brought in to complement the taste of the scallops. Not so much the shrimp, but the scallops. I have the bacon on there. And the final ingredient is going to be the chopped parsley. And this is up to how much you prefer the parsley on there or not. I'm adding probably about 3 to 4 tablespoons of the parsley. I want some nice green color on there. I'm going to cover this up for no longer than maybe 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Let it create just a little bit of steam to tenderize some of the vegetables. And I will actually present this in the same skillet at the table in a few minutes when we sit down for dinner.
Salud!
Dicen que no comía, nomás se le iba en puro llorar. Dicen que no dormía, nomás se le iba en puro tomar. Juran que el mismo cielo se estremecía al oír su llanto. Cómo sufrió por ella, que hasta en su muerte la fue llamando.